All right, welcome back everybody, and welcome to January. Happy New Year. So here it is, January 1st, right at 1 p.m. Temperature is 59 degrees and the humidity is 44%. And I just wanted to kick off January's video in the new year. Let's talk about the weather as I'm walking out to the bee yard. So today's high is in the early afternoon hours like usual, and that's just 61 degrees. And over the next week, or actually 10-day forecast, I guess, high 40s, low 50s, and then next Thursday, high of 33. So we had some pretty warm days in December, which is not uncommon or unusual for our area, and then January through March things get a little cold, obviously, right? But since I'm out here, let's look at the entrances. We got a few flights going on, and then I'm more curious really to check out the pollen feeder, the 5-gallon bucket that, if you didn't catch December's video, they were hitting that thing extremely hard, especially when it was 71 or 72 degrees on Christmas Day, and then a few days later I resupplied the bucket, and New Year's Eve, I believe, very warm again. So cooler temps, and I'm not sure if this is really going to come up, but yeah, cooler temps today, but we still have some flight activity. This one right here, number 12. Hey, I think I'm gonna need to add a box very early on in the season once the time is right, because they are flying like crazy. And you can see a lot of granulated sugar at the entrance too. All right, here we go. I didn't see a lot of activity on the bucket. I've driven by a few times today, and you can usually see it from the street pretty clearly. And yeah, not a lot of activity at all. And there's only two reasons for that: either the temperature, or, holy smokes, they consumed a pound in about a day, which is pretty impressive. All right, hey, that does it for me. January 1st. Just wanted to start off this month's video as early as possible. And yeah, hopefully everybody had a nice New Year's. Good time to establish some goals for this upcoming season. And we'll see what happens. Hey, welcome back everybody. So here it is, Sunday, January 12th, right at 2 p.m. Temperature's about 48 degrees, humidity's in the low 40s, and it finally feels like winter. We've had several days below freezing, and I am curious to see what's going on in the bee yard today, because we do have some bees flying. There's a few on the bird bath like usual, collecting some water, but it has been cold. And in fact, I'll put a screenshot of the 10-day forecast, which is another 10 plus days of sub-freezing temperature with some isolated showers. And no kidding, I don't expect to see a lot of activity, but yeah, there's a few colonies flying. Not many, but yeah, it's that time of year. This is pretty typical weather for us, meaning January to March. That's the time of year that's very challenging, especially when the cold sets in and you really don't have too many opportunities. Unlike December, you don't have too many warm days to really open up the hives, or at least pop the tops and give them some feed. I mean, you can if you need to, but you just want to exercise some caution in doing so. All right, yeah, I just wanted to walk out to the yard, just get another clip for this month's video. Not much going on, and again, the forecast, unless that changes dramatically, which it probably won't, that'll take us to about the 3rd week of the month. So stay tuned and we'll see what the rest of the month turns out to look like. All right, hey, here we go. It is Thursday, January 16th, right after 12:30. Current temperatures are 52 degrees and 28%. And I am out here because we have had some very cold days come through our area, and in fact this morning at 6:30 it was 13 degrees. So actually a few days ago we had our monthly county club bee meeting, and our regional inspector said a few things and made a few good points, especially for this time of year given the weather that we've experienced, right? And one of the points that he made was to go check your hives, just do a quick weight test, lift the back of the hive, and if it's light, feed them. And the best thing you can do on any day that it's at least 50 degrees or slightly warmer, just feed them with some dry sugar via the mountain camp method. So that is exactly what I'm out here to do. I'm gonna check all the hives just real quick because I'm on a pretty short break from work. And any hive that's light, feed them some dry feed, but especially pay attention to the single deeps that don't have a medium on top, which was serving as a food bank coming out of the season, or out of the fall, I guess, when I was feeding them all pretty heavy. But no kidding, I'm not gonna really walk the line, but just to give you all a quick look, these hives right here, not really surprised. These two hives right here, number 5 and 15, and actually number 3 right next to it, the single deep, they have some pretty nice activity, probably because they're catching a lot of the sun right here through the trees. But yeah, real quick, I'll show you a few clips. I'm just gonna get in and out of here and hopefully sleep a little better at night, because I was thinking about this last night, watching and looking at one of the weather apps and just seeing how cold it got and how quickly it got that cold. So enough of me yapping. Let me get my hat and veil and gloves on, grab the bucket, turn off the fence. Actually, don't do that, but I'll do that now before I forget. Turn off the fence and then get in here and get some feed on them, just so I know they have some. And then this weekend when I have a little more time, I'll probably end up giving them just some more. All right, down here at the hive in the very first position. Okay, well, if you can't see that, let me show you. Surprisingly, they have a decent amount of sugar left, so I'm just going to push it closer to the center, and I'm not going to give them any because I'm pretty low on sugar right now. And yeah, the best I can do for them is not much. There's the one right next to it. Okay, yeah, they could probably use some sugar. And let me show you this. This is really good to see. That's good. They are definitely using what I provided them. They have a decent amount left, but again, given the weather and all, all right, just a quick summary. Half were good to go, surprisingly. Half had pretty decent weight. Half were semi-light, and I try to give most of the single deeps, like I said, a little sugar. And I end it with number 3 down here, actually. And of course I ran out of sugar. Always run out of stuff when you need it. But I marked with them with the brick pointing up like that, just to remind myself that I plan on giving them some more sugar. So I'm gonna pick up a few bags from Walmart today, and I'll be out here in the next few days, because we do have, according to the forecast, we do have a few days where the temperature should be like they are today, in the low 50s, which is really good enough, especially if you just got to pop the top very briefly for the sole purpose of just giving them some dry feed, some dry sugar for emergency purposes. But yeah, surprisingly, some of the hives, the nuke for sure, and like some of these other ones, they still had a somewhat decent amount left, which, you know, bees will use food if they need it. So if they're not using it, they don't need it, which could be perceived as a good thing. But that's all for me today. I'll have another clip here in the next few days, probably on Saturday, and that will take us, yeah, we'll be in the second half of January by then. I just wanted to give y'all a 24-hour update after feeding most of the hives with some dry sugar. So here it is, Friday, January 17th, just after 1 o'clock. Temperature is 56 degrees, humidity is 36%, and more so because of the weather, but I guess it can't hurt to feed them. No kidding. Every hive is really enjoying the temperatures right now, which is just fantastic to see. Yeah, so that is awesome. If I can just keep them alive for about 63 more days, that's the exact number of days until spring is here, which, if I'm remembering correctly, March 20th. Temperatures will probably still be kind of cold around then, like they usually are, but nonetheless, that's the official start of spring. And speaking of temperatures, so again, mid-50s, but this morning at daybreak, it was about 29, and we have weather like that for the next 2 weeks with some snow and sleet in the rain, or in the forecast, along with some rain early next week, about midweek actually, like around Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll see. If you're watching this video, you still have time to do certain things, like give your bees dry sugar, the mountain camp method, right? Just as an emergency food supply on any day where the temperatures, you know, it's a judgment call, but for me, I'm looking at the temps to be at least 50 degrees, because you're only opening the hive real quick to pour some sugar in, and that's it. So you don't want to keep them open too long, but if you're just unaware of that, just keep that in mind if you're feeding them. All right, hey, here it is, Sunday, January 19th, right at 4:30 in the afternoon. Temperature is in the low 60s, and the humidity is about 82%. And I am out here to treat the hives for the month. In fact, my calendar reminder popped up a few days ago, but because of the weather, I just could not get out here to treat them. So I'm out here now, and this is my only chance for the next 10 days or so, because believe it or not, we actually have snow in our forecast. In the next few days, we might actually get 1 to 2 inches of snow. So if I don't treat them today, I don't think I'm really going to be able to for the month of January. And I've been on a monthly basis for the last few months, which seems to be working just nicely. So I'm going to get everything set up, turn off the fence, get the vaporizer going, maybe show a few clips, but that's it for today and the month of January for treating for varroa mite. All right, first thing I do, just for efficiency purposes, I just go hive by hive and lift up the mouse guards, which, if you didn't see that video from a few months ago when I installed them, one, very easy to install, and I just like the simplicity. So easy to move out of the way. They definitely serve their purpose, and so far they've kind of doubled down nicely as not just a mouse guard, but an entrance reducer. And I say that because of the left and right side. I don't know, shoot 3, maybe 6 inches total. It really reduces the entrance, and it seems to do okay as far as, I mean, possibly helping the hives retain some heat. There's no scientific studies that have done that prove that, but they seem to be okay. All right, all entrances are open. Let's get the vaporizer going and start treating them. It's nice to see this very first hive, number 16, really come to life. As soon as I went to sweep off the entrance a little bit, and as soon as I did, they started flying. So I've had concerns about them, that's why I made that comment, but based off today and right now, they seem to be doing just fine. All right, this thing's to temp, so I'm gonna try and grab the plunger. Should be at 3 grams, yeah. Hook it up. I'm gonna actually time myself today just to see how long this takes and share it with y'all. I don't think I mentioned it, but of course, always remember to wear your PPE. This is just a 3M half mask. The pink and yellow filters are what you need for organic material, which is what oxalic acid is considered. And this thing's only been going for a few seconds now, and I'll show you just how, that's how quick it is. So once it gets to 445, we're done. You've probably seen it in previous videos. I'll just grab the vaporizer, slide it over here to the next hive,
block this one up while the next hive gets treated. Once the temp gets to about 435, I'll pull the towel from this one and they're done. Put the towel in the next one and just rinse and repeat until I'm done for the day. And just like that, I did everything I just explained. Just hit the plunger. Temperature usually drops down to about 400. That one's all plugged up. So give it about 30 to 45 seconds or so and the second one will be done too. Alright, here I am, halfway done. Just hit the plunger a few seconds ago. And we're at 8.5 minutes. So it should take about 17 minutes to treat 14 colonies. I'll take that any day of the week. Alright, well, shooting for less than 20 minutes. Treating the last hive, and then I have to adjust the plunger for 1.5 grams to treat the single nuke down here. So that'll take a little bit of time, but yeah, no kidding. 20 minutes for 14 hives, it's pretty good. And treating with 1.5 grams doesn't take nearly as long, so this will go pretty quickly. So about 15 more degrees. We should be all set. 17 minutes and 45 seconds. Give this probably 5 seconds or so. And we're there. Alright. So just over 18 minutes.
Alright, here it is. Tuesday, January 21st, right at 1 o'clock. Temperature is 33 degrees. Humidity's around the mid 50% mark somewhere. And I'm actually heading out to the yard, if you didn't guess that, to add entrance reducers. And I'll explain that here in a second. Oh, well, that's interesting. Let me show you this real quick. Hopefully that was because of me. I was just out here the other day, and this is the gate per se. Yeah, I didn't even notice that when I put everything back together. So that's what I was saying. I'm out here to add entrance reducers. But first, let me go turn off the fence, and I'll explain what I mean by adding entrance reducers here in a second. Well, ooh. That's quite a few bees on the entrances that did not make it back inside. I'll show you that too. Yeah, so I was going to kind of go the entire season without putting entrance reducers on because of what I said in the previous clip with the mouse guards, all those metal things you're looking at, right? So yeah, I was gonna go the whole season without adding the traditional entrance reducers because I thought, you know, hey, those mouse guards work just fine, and I'm sure they do. But the reason I'm doing this today is because of the weather we have coming. And of course, I'll share a few screenshots from the weather apps, the one that's built into the iPhone. I think that's powered by the Weather Channel. My Accurite has their own. And then my radar, I believe is what it's called. That's a quick video to show y'all the storm front that's coming our way. And no kidding, all of our friends and some family that live down on the Gulf Coast through Louisiana, Mississippi, and Florida, they are no kidding receiving snowfall right now. Actually, they have all day. Enough to make snowmen and do all the things. So if that doesn't change, which I don't think it will, we should no kidding receive a decent amount of snowfall starting tonight around 7 p.m. And of course, with overnight temperatures being the coldest, it should still be here in the morning. So let me get these entrance reducers added, and that's it for today. I'll show you a few clips of that. But the reason I'm doing that is mainly, if I didn't say it right, is because of the weather we have coming our way. And I figured, even though it's going to last just a few days, right? Because we'll have temperatures back in the low 40s, mid 40s by, I think, this weekend, which is enough to see the bees flying and all. But, not to make this too long-winded, But I figured if now's not the time, you know, when will be, to really get the entrances butted up and just help the bees. That's the idea. Help the bees just that much more, retain some of that invaluable heat so they don't have to work as much, use as much energy, consume as much food, etc., etc., etc. Especially now that it's like the 3rd week of January and we are less than 60 days until spring. So if I can get them through February, halfway through March, we should be good to go. So why not give it a shot and just help them out just a little more. Got a few installed already, not much to it, but yeah, you know, it's really, I hate seeing that. So I'm installing all of them with the smallest entrance, right? And probably because of some OCD, but I'm putting all the small entrances on the right side. Let me show you something that I kind of just accidentally discovered as I was installing the reducers. So as I put on the first 2, I had the thought that if, for whatever reason, the entrance reducer slid all the way down, given the small entrance is the only opening now, and then it sits behind a solid portion of the metal mouse guard slash entrance reducer or blocker, whatever you want to call it, the perforated side. I thought, you know, that would be devastating because the bees have no way to get out, right? And then as I was installing this one and the rest of them, really, I thought that if I didn't put it all the way flush, you know, if this were to fall for some reason, it can't completely close up the hive. So I just had to grab my hive tool, because this is what I'm talking about. You know, that would not be good, right? So I'm just gonna pull this one out just a tad. I mean, it doesn't have to come out much, just like that, and there you go. So if you want to call that a tip, you know, feel free. Anybody can use anything that I share. Nothing's patented here or trademarked. So yeah, there you go. All right, that does it for that. All right, folks, hey, thanks for watching. Pretty simple. It was just on my mind, and I thought, since not a whole lot's going on in January, I'd grab the camera and just show you the few things I'm up to and try to explain why as best as I can. But yeah, I really want it to go this entire season without using entrance reducers. Why? Just cause, really. Kinda. The reason I really wanted to try that was because of these metal mouse guards and entrance blockers, if you want to call that. So you can just flip it over, slide it down, the same as the mouse guard, of course, or that side of it. And the perforated side, if you're transporting hives or just moving hives around, it gives you a very nice and secure way to completely close the entrance, which is it's a pretty cool touch from Hoover Hives and Galena Farms. I thought that was a really nice feature. But for the reason, or however the mouse guards are designed, and I think I explained this yesterday, it reduces the entrance by maybe 6 inches, 3 inches on each side, and I did not measure that at all, so it's just kind of a educated guess. But because the mouse guard reduces the entrance by practically half, or maybe just more than half, I thought they could kind of double down and serve the purpose of not just the mouse guard, but also as an entrance reducer. And honestly, they have worked just fine. I've had no issues with them. Let me turn the fence on. I've had no issues with them, but again, I've probably said this quite a few times now, with the weather we're about to get, I figured any little assistance I can give the bees to retain heat, save energy, hopefully save on food consumption, etc., etc. Anything I can do now, today, as the weather's about to set in here in quite a few hours, right after sunset, I figured, hey, why not just try and give them the best chance possible. And then about this weekend, whenever the temperatures get back into the 40s, I'll come out, take the entrance reducers off, or maybe just reverse them to the larger side, or just go back to using the mouse guards. That seems to have worked quite well so far. But yeah, that's it. Just wanted to share that with you, and especially with I'll try to come out here maybe tomorrow and hopefully be able to show you what the yard looks like blanketed in snow, which has not happened since early 2018. One last thing for the day, kind of an afterthought once I got back into the shed, but I recently purchased a very, very inexpensive grill cover for the mixing barrel. So this thing, let's see, I think I cleaned it out at some point after the season, but my makeshift cover, even with my pool noodle modification, has not worked well with keeping it clean. So I don't know what gave me this thought. I think I was looking at my grill and it needs a cover as well. So I thought I could buy a very small grill cover, and sure enough, I think it was like 12 bucks on Amazon. But I'm gonna cover this up, maybe secure it with a bungee cord. At least that will keep it a little less dirty moving forward. And then on any good day, decent day, maybe this weekend when it's in the 40s again, I'll get out here, clean it out, run some bleach through the line, and just kind of prep it for the season. I'll probably have to clean it out one more time for the season, but at least it'll be better than it is now. So just thought I'd share that with you. And there you have it. Not much to it. I forgot it had some Velcro straps on each side, so that looks pretty darn secure to me. And just thinking out loud and thinking ahead for the year, not that it really matters, but I might mount some kind of hose hanger, hose reel type thing on that tree, just because I do use it from maybe June to the fall, so just a few months out of the year. But at least it'll get the hose kind of off the ground. It's not really in the way, but clean the hose as well and get it hung up, and maybe just less to do for the next time I want to use it. But yeah, no kidding. Not sure why I did not think of this many months ago. Just gonna take a quick look out front just to have a comparison between this afternoon and either tonight or tomorrow. Hopefully it's like early 2018 and everything was blanketed with snow. I think the forecast is calling for 4 to 6 inches is what I heard last. Kind of cool to possibly get a before and after of the front and backyard. That's the idea, at least. All right. Here it comes. Listen to it hitting the bushes. It's just after 6 o'clock. I think the temperature said 29 degrees. Feels like 23. Hopefully this looks pretty cool in the morning if everything's covered in snow. Oh my. How cool. We are supposed to have snowfall until 6 a.m. So that's another 8 hours. If we can't see the ditches tomorrow morning, that'll be just like 2018. Wow. The backyard is covered. Pretty cool. All right, well, hey, the forecast was right. So here it is, Wednesday, January 22nd, right at 7:30 in the morning. It's about 25 degrees, maybe. Been up for a while, and it looks like we got about 4.5 inches of snow last night. Take you on a walk, the usual walk, out to the bee yard. I've already been out here to make my rounds, but no kidding. Look how beautiful this is. This is not any sort of weather we receive often at all, but when it comes through, it is truly magical. All right, here it is, 10 o'clock. Temperature's 22 degrees. I don't know if I said this earlier, but this afternoon's high is about 31, so it's not going to get above freezing. And I am out here to just clear off the entrances, mainly just the right side on all the hives, to give the bees a chance once it warms up to make some flights, which it should warm up by this weekend. I may have said that earlier, but very easy maintenance to do. I think, yeah, this entrance is, I don't remember. It's on that side, I guess. So once it melts a little, it's just less for them to do, really. But man, no kidding, we have not had snow like this since early 2018. We've had a little snow over the years, but nothing like this. I actually measured it this morning, and along with local news posts, it seems to be about right. 4.5 inches of snow. It's pretty cool, especially when a little wind comes through and knocks the snow out of the trees. I don't know if that's really gonna come up or not, but no kidding. It is a beautiful sight. It doesn't happen that often, but it is cool when it does. All right, here it is, 1:30 and 30 degrees. I'm walking out to the yard just because I am curious of all things to see if the sun is hitting any of the hive entrances, which I'm sure it is, but more so if the little bit of sunlight that is coming through the yard has melted away the snow that was compacted in, golly, in the hive entrance. And a little bit, not much, but over the next few days I have no doubt that that little bit of snow, if you can see it, that one's looking the best, maybe number 5. But yeah, that little bit of snow, oh, number 3. That one's completely open. All right. Yeah, again, the temperature over the next few days is going to be pretty cold, consistent with what it is right now. But by this weekend, it'll be warm enough to where most of this will probably melt by then. So, all right, just a brief update. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I wrote today's date on Cole's farm. That kind of reminds me of a picture post from early 2018 when we had this much snow. But yeah, that's it for today. And yeah, just we'll see what the next few days kind of look like. All right, hey, here it is, the following day. So it's Thursday, January 23rd, right at 1 o'clock. And the temperature is a brisk 34 degrees and 58%. That is the warmest it's going to get all day for the next few hours, and then around 3 or 4 o'clock it's going to get below freezing again. But I just wanted to come out here, about a day later, give y'all just a quick update. So yeah, it looks like clearing off that side of the hive where the small entrance is was a good idea. Unfortunately, you can see quite a few bees right there. Looks like they may not have survived, but I'm assuming they're probably keeping in the heat for the rest of the colony. We'll just go one by one real quick. Same thing, you can see a bee or two that may not have made it through the night. Let's see number 2, looks like it's still frozen. Tomorrow afternoon, Friday afternoon, it should warm up enough to where, as long as there's snow on the ground, I think I was watching Bruce's bees down in southern Alabama. He did have a good point, and he was trying to share some info with folks so they don't get too concerned or worried, because for the climates like his and ours up here where we don't get a lot of snow, the point he was trying to make, and I'll share with you as well, is as long as there's snow on the ground to where it's a lot easier to see dead bees, and I'll show you this next one because that one has probably the most. Don't be overly concerned. 14 still frozen up. Same with 12. Yeah, don't be overly concerned if you see something like this, just a whole bunch of dead bees on the ground. It's completely normal and natural, especially with temperatures like this. But the point he was trying to make, that I'll reshare, is we don't typically get to see that in the winter because they'll die out, or they'll die off, fall out of the hive, or be carried out, right? And they'll be in the grass. They're there all year round. We just don't have an easy way to see that usually, which is thanks to the snowfall. So very curious to see, yeah, Friday afternoon and really Saturday, once the temperatures are well above freezing. In fact, Saturday, Sunday, and then early into next week, it's going to be in the 40s all the way up to the 50s for a little bit. So I am not anticipating still having snow on the ground come Monday. I could be wrong, but over the weekend I'm very curious to see just how many bees get dragged out and are still visible while the snow's still here. All right, hey, that's it for me. I just wanted to share an update of the hive entrances, of course, and then share all the things that I just did. So if you're watching this video, it won't post until the end of the month or early February, but you'll probably figure it out by then. But if not, and your climate's still cold and you experience snow like we did, and once it warms up and the bees are being dragged out and there are a lot of bees on top of the snow, hopefully this video helps you, or those comments help you. Mainly just don't be too concerned with it. The colony is most likely still doing fine. The die-off is completely natural. Again, it's just one of those things we don't necessarily get to see that often, especially in climates that don't receive snow often enough, right? But that's it for me. Enjoy another snow day with the family, and stay tuned for the rest of the month. All right, here it is, Friday, January 24th, right after 1 o'clock. Temperature's 42 degrees, humidity is 45%, and you can clearly see we still have snow on the ground. Also, talking about the weather and everything, we are not out of the woods just yet, clearly. And what I mean by that is, even though today's high, currently 41, 42 degrees, tomorrow is going to be 48. Sunday is going to be 50. However, we still have some temperatures dropping below freezing, to include tonight, Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday night moving into Monday. The temperature's right above freezing at 33%. And next week actually warms up with one more day of below freezing temps, Thursday night into Friday at 29, actually Friday too, and next Sunday. So not this Sunday, but in a week from now, as long as everything stays the same and doesn't change. Next Sunday's high is 62 with a low of 52. So that is a lot more favorable than what we are currently experiencing. And I'm out here in the yard. This is kind of cool. I'll show you this real quick. Because the hives are tilted just a little forward, thanks to a furring strip. That's actually a severe weather furring strip, so you didn't really have to do anything to prep them. But all the hives are resting on top of that in the back, so they're canted just a little bit, a few degrees forward, but just enough. You can kind of see the snow sliding off the front. All right, I wasn't really anticipating much activity today. Look at that one. Look at number 2. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I wasn't anticipating much activity with the temps, but no kidding. There was one hive down here with a bee flying. See if we can capture that if it wants to come out again. But tomorrow and this weekend, yeah, number 5, I think that's the one that was just flying. Yeah, tomorrow and this weekend, we should see a lot more activity with the temperatures. I just came inside the fence for a closer look, and not much has really changed since the other day from what I was trying to show y'all, meaning the small entrance, right? You can kind of see a few bees at the small entrance, and this is the other thing that will disappear as the snow melts, is just having a really easy and clear view of any sort of die-off. But yeah, I anticipate all this being gone by Sunday, maybe into Monday. Look at this ice shelf situation. That's pretty cool. And then all sorts of tracks. I'm wondering what that is. Feel free to leave a comment if you can help me out identifying that track. I don't know, maybe a rabbit? No, that's not true. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, most of the hives have something that looks like that. And I think I said this the other day, but as soon as the temperatures warm up and the snow's pretty much melted, especially off the tops of the hives, I'm going to use that as a way to measure when it's melted down in the entrances. I guess I'm going to come out and remove the wooden entrance reducers and then just slide down the mouse guards like I've had them all the way through the season, the fall and the winter, leading up to this past week, like I said earlier, mainly due to the snow. And of course we have a few nights that it's going to be cold, like I mentioned earlier, but I think the mouse guards do just a fine job retaining some heat and letting some moisture out. All right, here it is, Saturday, January 25th, right after 12:30. Temperature is about 43 degrees, humidity is around 39% or so, and it's practically like a daily checkup just to see how things are progressing, defrosting and melting, and more curious to see what the hives are up to, if anything, just yet. I'm not expecting to see too much, but you never know. I'll check on them tomorrow and probably throughout the week. Tuesday's temperature, or sometime in the middle of the week, it should be pretty warm, meaning I think in the low 60s, believe it or not. So let's walk around to the front. I don't see any flights. However, I am curious to see if the entrances have melted and are free, especially judging by how much less snow is on some of the hives. But yeah, let's walk around. Okay. All right, well, that's good to see. The snow is completely melted off the front of the hives. Oh, yeah, we got a flight coming from the second one, which is number 1. not much going on for the rest of them, which is fine. But again, throughout the week I'll be coming out here, and really midweek I'm hoping to see a lot of flights given the weather temps. It's interesting to see all the critters that come back into the bee yard, and I'm assuming walk underneath the fence. But yeah, no real activity just yet, but stay tuned. So again, here it is, the third week of January, and I am itching to get back into the bees. Leave a comment if you're watching this part of the video and care to do so. But yeah, leave a comment and share your location and whether or not if you're ready to really get back into the bees. And I say that because I reached out to some other local beekeepers just to kind of figure out what their plans are, and it never hurts to ask other folks with just as much, if not more, experience. Mainly their plans for adding boxes to single deeps and reversing colonies that overwintered in a multi-box configuration. And based off, I think it's Accurate, but based off Accurate's calendar for February, it looks like we still have quite a few cold days throughout next month, and maybe around the middle of the month it should be a little better to where I can start doing those things. So that's it for now. That's right, folks, I just can't help myself. So here it is just after 3 o'clock, and it's 52 degrees. It warmed up a lot more than I thought it was going to today, and it looks like, oh yeah, we have some flight activity. Let's go walk around, of course, see which hive has what going on, and go from there. All right. So same thing on 16. A whole bunch of bees at the entrance. Yeah, we got a pretty good die-off. Well, I say that, but not really. There's just more bees visible on top of the snow. It is melting away pretty quickly now. Here's just walk down the line. Oh yeah, these ones down here for sure. What's that, number 5? Yeah, number 5's looking pretty good. 5 and 15 right here also seem to get a decent amount of sunlight, but yeah, like I said, I'll come out here tomorrow and throughout the week just to give y'all updates, but they should definitely be flying a lot, hopefully, right, by about Tuesday if the temperature stays the same. All right, like I may have said recently, the videos are almost on a daily basis at this point. So here it is, Sunday, January 26th, right after noon. The temperature's 53 degrees. The humidity is 36%. And I'm coming out here, as you can see, with my bee suit on to do a few specific things. But before I explain all that, I'll show you just a quick look. And that's right, we still have snow on the ground. However, given the temps, and I'll walk around and show you the front side of the entrances, but if you can't see that, we've got bees flying, so that's a good thing. All right, given today's temps and the temps over the next 10 days, which we still have a few cold nights, but the daytime temps are in the 50s, and there's a few days in the 60s, and then unless things drastically change, next weekend we're gonna have temperatures in the 70s. So I came out here today to do two things, right? One, I'm gonna remove the wooden entrance reducers and switch back to the metal mouse guards. And the reason for that, and I'll show you as I get in front of the hives, but the reason for that is I don't want any of the hives to basically create a scenario where they're trapped inside. Because looking at some of the entrances with the small opening, there was quite a few bees that most likely died. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot to really clog up the entrance, and the rest of the colony can't get out, and that leads to other bad things, right? So that's why I'm going to remove the entrance reducers. And the second thing I'm going to do, given the temps, I mean, it feels cool when it is, but again, it's in the low 50s, which is good enough. I'm gonna pop the tops, just do a very quick assessment on food stores, the dry sugar, right? And then resupply if need be. And then I guess I'll do 3 things, right? I'm also gonna do the 2-finger test to pick up the back of the hives. And if you can lift them with 2 fingers, you should probably provide them some sugar. So let me get suited up, walk around, show you the front of the hives, of course, turn off the fence, and then get to it for the day. All right, down here at number 16, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So either the hive completely died off, or the entrance is clogged up and the bees can't get out. And that's what I was trying to explain earlier, why I'm gonna remove the wooden entrances today. Because if we go down here to the very next hive, number 1, it seems like they survived, and the bees that are still with us are doing their part with removing all the dead bees that you can see right here on the ground. So same thing with number 2, 19, TBD, and so on and so forth. But I am assuming, we'll see here in a second, but I'm assuming as soon as I start removing the entrances, we'll have a good idea if the colony survived or not. And kind of to be expected, right? Dead bees right up on the entrance. But yeah, that's the plan today. Pretty simple. It'll be pretty quick, and then I think it'll help the colonies out too with kind of lightening their load regarding how many bees they have to carry out. But I'm not going to show every single hive, mainly because it's going to take a while, but that's the plan. And then, like I said earlier, just pop the tops, clear off the snow that's remaining on some of them, which is really not much at this point. Pop the tops and see if they need any food. Ooh, hopefully they're still alive. We'll see here in a second. And then I'll just put that back on. All right, pretty quick work, and I just wanted to show you a quick assessment. So I reached, if I didn't show that earlier, I reached in the hive as far as I could with the hive tool, and basically in a sweeping motion pulled out as many dead bees that were on the bottom board. And just give you a quick assessment, this hive here, number 19, let's do a sneak peek. Okay, yeah, they still have some bees in the top box, so that's cool. And the reason I wanted to show you all that is because they definitely had the most dead bees on the bottom board. But yeah, don't be alarmed if this is what you see over the next few days or experience, because bees are gonna die off, that's for sure. They still have some up there too. But yeah, and then this one here as well, which they're flying. I'm gonna get into them here in a second, like I said earlier, to feed them, but okay, yeah, that's good. And then something else I was thinking about, depends, like, you know, where you're at and how you keep your bees, but the top cover, you can pull it forward, and some of y'all probably know this, and you have an entrance right there, you know, for primarily summertime. And then some people flip the inner cover over and or push the top cover back, but I've left them pulled forward the same way I run them through the summer. And you can't see it now, but with that entrance being open, as condensation collects on the top of the bottom side of the top cover, I've noticed it drips out. So I haven't really seen anybody explain that before, but
it's something worth trying, especially if you're trying to prevent condensation from dripping down on top of your colony, which can kill them pretty easily. All right, here we go. And I plan on giving each hive 2 pints or 1 quart of dry feed. Before I do that for this one, damn, I'm gonna take a look and see if they still have any sort of cluster down there. Well, it's bound to happen, right? I think it just got too cold for them, and let's see the old 2-finger test. It's not terribly light, but oh man, that stinks. I'm gonna get out here during the week and open them up then, just in case they still stand a chance. All right, down here at the next one. Okay. They are definitely alive and well. And like I said, give them about 2 pints worth. Man, that stinks. I hate losing colonies. And I tried to do everything I could leading up to this weather to help them, but it may have just been too small of a cluster. That's the one I left on, or the last one I fed as I ran out of sugar before all the weathering. They are doing just fine. Inner cover was stuck. All right, every hive got a pound. All right, that does it for me today. I will probably be out here in the middle of the week to take a look at the first colony, number 16, and see what I can determine. Most likely they starved, they ran out of food, and being cooped up in the hive with the weather didn't help, right? And they may have had a pretty small colony and cluster size and succumbed to the weather and lack of food, which the food part's definitely my fault. The thing that stinks about that, not just losing the colony, looking back over the last 10 days or so, when I was out here to treat them on the 16th or maybe a few days later, 16th to the 19th, I mean, they were flying. They were doing just fine. They looked like they were doing just fine. And then, yeah, here we are. So, like I said, I'll get into them later in this week when the temperatures are in the 60s, but as y'all saw, pretty quick. Doesn't take a lot of time to just pop the tops and give them some dry feed. So that's it for today. All right, here it is, Tuesday, January 28th, right after 11:30. Temperature's 55 degrees, humidity is 58%. I'm heading out to the yard, of course, to do what I said in the earlier clip the other day, or from the other day. And I really just want to get into the first hive, hive number 16, and try to figure out what happened to them, why they most likely died off. And I say most likely because I'll show you here in a second. The bees are definitely enjoying the temps, a little bit of sunshine coming through the yard, and the fact that all the snow's gone. So let me show you a back side of the yard, and then I'll walk around and show you the entrances, of course. All right, let's walk around real quick, take a look at the fronts of the hives, the hive entrances, and
Yeah, exactly. Number 16, no signs of life. But on a positive note, look at the rest of the yard. As usual, let me go turn off the fence before I forget, and we will try to figure out what happened to 16. I may have said this earlier, but my suspicions are they ran out of food, which is completely my fault. I tried to help them out as much as I could and top them off with a little dry sugar right before the weather moved in, but between low food stores and possibly just not enough of a bee population to keep the hive warm with the multiple days of sub-freezing temps, that may have just done them in. All right, here we go. Yep, he did not make it. A bit of a silver lining though is I have a lot of nice drawn comb I can use. So let's see what we can figure out. Here we go. Here's the first part of the cluster. Looking for the queen. A lot of bees with their heads buried down into the cells, or their whole body really. If you can't see that, which is typically a sign of starvation. No real breed to speak of either. And I imagine some of the colonies, without looking, based off what I've experienced before, is they typically start laying, queens start laying shortly after the winter solstice, so they should have some signs of brood. All right, I'm just going to go through one more time. There's a lot of bees on the bottom board that have fallen off the frames. I'm going to clean everything up, see if they have a queen. Be surprised if they don't. She's marked, so give me a few minutes and I'll show you some stuff as I'm wrapping up. Yeah, this is a tough one. I just kind of rooted through all the dead bees here on the bottom board, and I've had hives die before and I was able to find the queen pretty easily with her being marked, but nothing's really standing out. So no brood. Hard to find the queen amongst this mess. I don't know. There's a good chance she may have left at some point. So, all right. Well, kind of TBD on this one, but well, TBD what caused them to die. I mean, they definitely had a lack of food, so I'd say that's part of it. But they may have become queenless at some point. Okay. Well, again, the silver lining is out of the 8 frames, about 7 of them are nicely drawn out. I have quite a few other frames in the shed being stored, boxes and frames of course. So I'll make this a 10 frame and I'll add that to a strong colony as soon as we have a nectar flow. And if they fill it, man, that's possibly about 100 pounds worth of honey, so that's something to look forward to. All right, hey, here it is, Friday, January 31st, right at 11 o'clock. Temperature is 72 degrees and the humidity is 80%. And this is the last time walking out to the yard for the month and the last time I'll be sharing that with you. So let's go check out and see what the bees are looking like. And yeah, as expected, they are flying. I'll walk around the course and show you the front here in a second. Hopefully this comes up on camera. But yeah, no kidding. Looking at the 10-day forecast, I'll probably put a screenshot or share a screenshot with you. But the 10-day forecast is looking really nice, which has me thinking about what I want to do in early February. Oh yeah, they are flying big time. This is fantastic to see. Yeah, so given the weather for early February and then throughout the month, looking at the same Accuray calendar, weather calendar that I shared earlier in the video, I'm really thinking about doing a few things for the first time, and meaning this early in the season. And the things that I am considering doing to really get a jump start on the year is add boxes to the singles, which is I think about 5 of them, and then reverse the other colonies. So put the medium on the bottom, put the deep up top. But before I do all that, that's probably going to be how February's video starts. I really need to get into them and see for the multi-stacked boxes if the queen's moved up into the top box and there's brood up there and the bottom box is light, of course. Yeah, I'll end up reversing them, because what I really want to do, I really want to add deeps to the overwintered double stacked colonies as early as possible, maybe early March. So I have deeps with drawn comb to act as a honey super. Now, whether I run those deeps as a 9 or 10 frame, I'm still kicking around that idea. But if I can run 9 deeps, let's just say a 10 frame, right, on those colonies, and they fill them throughout the season, that is 900 pounds, potentially, as long as they fill them, right? 900 pounds of honey, and that doesn't include the 5 other colonies that will probably produce too. So my goal, I'll say it now, my goal this year is to exceed that 1,000 pound mark. And then I'll probably share this again in future videos, but since we're talking about it now, future plans, if I can do that, if I ended up doing that to capture the honey crop this year, the idea is maybe in June, all of the deep supers and any other boxes, I guess, is use them to make some splits and almost split the yard, double down and increase my hives by maybe even 100% rolling into the fall. So that's it for January. Just a quick look. That was the real intent. And then, like usual, started talking about a few other things, but yeah, no kidding. Thanks for watching, everybody. The weather is looking great. I am itching to get into the bees, and I think I'll do that this weekend, which will be February's video. So please subscribe, stay tuned if you like it. Obviously like the video and leave some comments if you have any questions. All right, hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Cole's Farm here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Check us out on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. See y'all next month.